The Birthday Wish. The Birthday Wish by Dan Glover, author and illustrator. Danny was having fun pretending to be sad. It was his birthday, but he hadn't asked for any presents, or even a party. He had a secret plan. Mr. and Mrs. Stamps were becoming very worried. "He's not sick," said Mrs. Stamps. "He doesn't have a temperature."
"No son of mine is going to be sad on his birthday," shouted Mr. Stamps. "He's breaking all the birthday rules. We have to do something."
"When children eat birthday cake, they usually smile," said Mrs. Stamps. "Maybe that's all he needs." When Danny refused to eat his birthday cake, Mr. Stamps became desperate.
"Now, listen, son. It's my job to make you happy. There must be something I can do for you. How about a birthday wish? You can ask for anything, and I'll give it to you."
"I want to eat only sweets for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I never want to take a bath or brush my teeth ever again," shouted Danny. "That's my birthday wish." Danny's parents were shocked. But Mr. Stamps was a man of his word. So he granted his son's wish. For dinner that night, Danny ate the rest of his birthday cake and a plate of cookies. He felt like a king. For dessert, he had a banana split, but he gave his sister Julie the banana. Julie had liver and peas for dinner. After dinner, Danny's parents took him to the superfood warehouse, where he spent all of his money on candy. The next day, on the way to school, Danny knew things were going to be different. He had candy now. Lots of candy. Danny shared the candy with all his friends, and it seemed like he had more friends than ever. Everyone seemed happy when they had sugar dancing on their lips. Candy was usually a special reward for being extra good or winning a contest. But now everyone had it. It was like everyone was a winner. Danny's life was full of fun, but after 2 weeks of all sweets and no teeth brushing or baths, something odd happened. When Danny woke up early Monday morning, his teeth felt strange and tingly. When he looked into the bathroom mirror, he discovered a wonderful surprise. Danny was so happy that he woke up his mom and dad to tell them the good news. "Look, my teeth are turning into little lemon drops." Mr. and Mrs. Stamps looked at each other in horror. They knew that Danny's teeth were not turning into candy. They were turning into cavities.
"Oh, son, I should have never promised you a birthday wish," said Mr. Stamps. "Please, brush your teeth and take a bath. Here, take this apple. It tastes good and sweet."
"No, Dad, apples aren't good," said Danny. "Candy is good." Mrs. Stamps decided to trick Danny into brushing his teeth. "I've got something special for you," said Mrs. Stamps. "It's bubblegum flavored mouth goo." It sort of looked like candy, and it almost tasted like candy, but Danny knew that good things never came out of white tubes. He decided not to take it. Danny could see that his mom and dad did not like his teeth changing color. So he grabbed a bar of white chocolate and went to work. He didn't like to see them so upset. So, with a rub, 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 the yellow was all covered up. Now his teeth looked nice and white. Danny's parents were very happy. Later that morning, Danny prepared his usual breakfast. But when he tried to eat it, he got a horrible shock. "Youch!" Danny screamed. "This candy is too hard to eat." It was very strange. The candy bar felt soft to his fingers, but when he put it into his mouth, it felt like he was biting into a rock. Since the candy bar was too hard to eat, Danny had to make it softer. He decided to make candy bar soup. He put 7 candy bars, 2 cookies, 11 gummy slugs, 2 bottles of pop, and 1 cup of sugar into a big jar and mashed it up with a hammer. It looked strange, but it still tasted sweet. At school, Danny passed out candy as usual, but when he gave Brian his candy, he didn't eat it right away. Brian just looked around and started sniffing. "I smell a stinky smell," said Brian. Everyone looked at Danny, but nobody said anything. When Danny came home from school, he knew he had to do something about his stinky smell. He decided to cover up the bad smell with a good smell. So, before he went to bed, he rubbed chocolate syrup all over his body. When Danny woke up the next morning, his hair was lying in a puddle of chocolate syrup on his pillow. "Mom's going to be mad if she finds out I let my hair drip off my head," said Danny. Danny picked up some of his hair from the chocolate puddle and gave it a close look. It was cold, slimy, and drippy. "My hair is broken," said Danny. "I'll have to find something else to put on my head." He decided to use chocolate frosting. It was brown and on his head, but it didn't look like hair. Julie walked into the bathroom holding up a spatula. "I can help," she said. "Now hold still." She sculpted, swooped, and swirled Danny's frosting into a lovely style. His hair almost looked good enough to eat. On the way to school, Danny heard a strange sound coming from behind him. It went pitter-patter, pitter-patter. Danny's chocolate-coated skin, frosting hair, and backpack full of treats had turned him into a walking candy bar. The Dachshund twins could no longer control themselves. They had to have a bite. One dog tore open his backpack, while the other one licked off his hair. In less than a minute, all of Danny's candy was gone. They even slurped up his candy bar soup. Julie watched and giggled. She always thought dachshunds were funny looking. During lunch at school, nobody wanted to sit next to Danny because he was so dirty, smelly, sticky, and bald. Nobody wanted to play with him either, until Andy came up with Stick'em. It was a new game where the kids would toss stuff at Danny and try to make it stick to him. On the bus ride back home, Danny peeled off the Stick'em items: a sandwich, a number 2 pencil, a cherry, an empty box drink, a butterfly, and a cookie. He wished he could eat the cookie, but his teeth hurt too much. He could only lick it and pretend he wasn't hungry. Danny was having a very bad day. He sat down on the curb to think. The dog sat down with him. They were waiting for more candy to pop out of him. After an hour, Danny came up with a new secret plan. A plan that would solve all of his problems. Later that evening, at 7:02, Mr. Stamps heard a strange sound. Mrs. Stamps heard it too. Splish, sploosh, ch-ch, bloop, bloop. It was coming from the bathroom. Mr. Stamps slowly opened the door to see what it was.
"Danny, what are you doing?" cried Mr. Stamps. "You're taking a bath and brushing your teeth. What about your birthday wish?"
"I don't want my birthday wish anymore," said Danny. "Mommy, I'm very hungry, but my teeth hurt. Can we make something soft to eat?" They made apple soup. It had cut up apples, chewable vitamins, raisins, and milk. Danny also snuck in some soda pop to make it a little sweeter. Danny felt very clever. The end.